Welcome to your Healing Place podcast with Linda and Mindy. It is our desire to address common concerns of how abortion and faith intersect in order to validate the emotional pain and grief that abortion can bring and give hope that recovery is possible. So we have Jenny with us again today, and we're talking about medically advised abortion, her experience. You can listen to her story on a previous podcast. I think it's going to be in two parts. But what we're going to talk about today is, we've talked about memorializing our babies before on a previous episode in this podcast, but we're going to talk about it from the perspective of a medically advised abortion, just the value of that process, closing or grieving that process, closing that, having closure, and um, maybe what that looked like for you. You talked about the ashes in several of the episodes before this, but just kind of go a little bit deeper into that for us.
Sure. Yeah. I think that memorializing a baby is can be really helpful and incredibly healing for any woman who's gone through the abortion, regardless of the circumstances. As we know, it could range from having a little memorial service, with like the women in your in-person group or a virtual group class that you've gone through. We had a group that was really small, and so they just wanted to do a balloon release. So,
Hmm.
asking them what they want, or what you want. And if you're married, for example, if your husband is involved in your healing, just like I talked to my husband, Dan, about it, and I was like, do you want to go? And he's like, well, can I get you a blue balloon since they're only giving you a white one? He was just so sweet to
Being a part
ask,
of it.
Hmm.
being a part of it.
Hmm.
Exactly. So I've been through a memorial service by participating like in retreats and classes, and it just never loses its significance.
Hmm.
Even when you've gone through something like that with others. But
Hmm.
individually, pretty early on in losing Nathaniel, I had a paver put at the park, same park where the pond is, because my daughter was little and we were part of a community group where we were putting in a big play structure for the kids at that park. And so they, of course, want donations, like getting everybody to put down pavers and tiles and things like that. Well, what happened about 10 years after that, they redid the park again. And I went back on one particular November 11th, and I would always go over to the paver and like dust it off and, maybe put like a little flower on it or something. It was gone. All the
Oh,
original ones were gone. I was just like heartbroken.
yeah.
So, if that happens to anybody, something like that, there's nothing that says you have to do something else now, but I wanted to. And so after going to the retreat, the abortion healing retreat in Tennessee, I was there in the Smoky Mountains. I had planned my trip so that I could then drive down to Chattanooga to the National Memorial for the Unborn, which, Linda, I can't thank you enough for all you've done to make that possible. And I put a plaque up, I had a plaque installed there
On the wall
for
of
my
names.
son on the
Yeah.
wall of names. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want women to know that place exists.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes leaving your house, your kids, the stress, and like saying it's okay to drive there or to take a plane trip, you and your family figure out if you can budget it, to just have like that opportunity to go and do something meaningful. It doesn't have to be there at the National
Hmm.
Memorial for the Unborn. There are other places.
But it's
There's so
permanent.
many ways,
It's a
but it's
permanent
permanent.
testimony of that
It's a
life.
Hmm.
permanent, exactly.
Hmm.
And different things bring comfort to different people. There are online walls where you can like put, say your baby's name or the year or whatever special to you, a Bible verse. Um, I know a lot of ladies have planted like a tree, like a rose bush or a perennial tree, that flowers every spring, and they
Hmm.
really enjoy like just kind of being
Hmm.
reminded that they have a baby in heaven. There's the sky's the limit on the creativity, right, as to
Yeah.
how. But I just want to make sure women know that there's no rule that says you can't. Just because society has been so
Right.
cruel and has not given us an opportunity to get a grave site or a grave marker, or, they say we can't grieve because we made the choice, that is absolutely a lie. And we know it. This
Well,
is the child.
we say we can't grieve. We
Yeah,
don't give
that's
ourselves
true.
permission to grieve too,
Yeah,
because we feel
yeah.
like, we've negated that responsibility or whatever it is.
Hmm.
We kind of deserve to hold on to this and not grieve, which just breeds
Uh,
destruction in us. But we just recently had a guest on, Sylvia Blakely. She advocates for doing a memorial garden. And so she did like a little
oh,
butterfly garden and I think herbs and stuff like that. So just something, that,
beautiful.
she can go out and enjoy in her backyard and that kind of thing. Um, and, so many of us have not just have abortion, but have siblings or others lost to abortion. And I have.
Hmm.
And so I put a plaque up on the wall for him not too long
Oh,
ago and during a memorial ceremony. And there was another family there putting the plaque on the wall for her baby. And I didn't think much of it until I was done. And I went over and gave her a hug just to be kind. And because she was really struggling. And she just said, that meant so much to me that you honored your brother. And I was like, oh, well,
oh,
I'm glad that touched her. So, um,
oh.
I think what it does is we now your situation is different, but we're not really valuing these children. We're not
Hmm.
honoring them in our hearts in those moments when we're just fear is overtaking us or whatever it is that's pressuring us. And later when we see not just mothers honoring their children, right? But we see sisters honoring their brothers and grandparents honoring their
It's a
grandkids.
family
And
thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
and just how
yeah.
precious that is because it just really, I think, validates, excuse me, the need for healing and that the pain is real. Thank you for listening. This podcast was inspired by the many conversations had through the years with women struggling from the emotional pain associated with abortion. Thank you for allowing us into your healing journey. Subscribe on major platforms where podcasts can be heard. Learn more about virtual abortion recovery healing at www.anevenplace.com. The link is in the show notes.